All right, what is going on, everyone? On this is actually the first episode of my podcast. Here we have a trader that I don't really know a lot of. I checked out all of his trades, and I really thought he is a very interesting dude. And on this podcast, I'm going to be having more experience versus beginners. Just because in the sense of the podcasts that I kind of know of, it's all experienced traders. So I kind of like interviewing both because I think those beginner traders in the first 3 to 6 months is very important. So the first episode is going to be an experienced trader. So introduce yourself, name, age, and how long have you been trading for?
Alright, so my name is Anthony Bouchard. I am 18 years old and I am from Quebec in Canada. I've been trading for about 3 years and few months, so it's been quite some times. I started that in actually high school at that time with just some friends looking around, trying to learn some things. And at first it was more also about investing, but then later I got into trading, analyzing the chart, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and then eventually it just grew up. And this is where I am with you today.
Oh, cool. So going back to when you were saying that you were getting started with trading, what age were you when you started?
So I really got into it more seriously when I was 15 years old. At that time, I was, like I said, still in high school, so it was nothing really seriously. But then when I saw the potential of trading, and when I really realized that I loved trading, I think it's very important to actually love what you do, whatever that you do. When I got into that situation, then I really got more serious about it. But I was 15 years old.
Oh, cool. So did you have anyone kind of on the inside that was already trading, already in that aspect?
Well, my uncle and my grandfather both had businesses. And my father also, was doing some investing, but nothing really close to trading. So I really just, my father always shared with me what he was doing, to just introduce me to, a little bit about investing and, economy in general. But then when I found trading, when I just, bumped into it, I had to first learn by myself because I had basically no one to teach me that skill.
Oh, cool. So going into your actual trading, what do you think in the beginning was your biggest difficulty that held you back into making your profits or actually just becoming consistent?
I could answer that question a lot of ways because in reality, when you start trading in your first months and even first years for some people, you have a lot of things to deal with, whether it's about the technical part, whether it's about just understanding those markets, whether it's about understanding yourself. So I think there are a lot of components that I could answer. If I had to pick one thing, I think it would be learning from the wrong people. That's something that I very much talk every day on my social media. For the people who follow me, they know that I'm all about mentorship, getting a coach, getting someone who knows what he's doing to teach you. And the reason why I preach that so much is because that's what helped me. And to just go a little deeper into my story and how I got into trading, during my first months, like I said, I had no one to teach me. I was alone in this. I had nobody by my side. I was just trying to go over the internet, read some books, watch videos, just study the chart by myself and all of these things, right? And that's what a lot of people do when they actually start trading. So few months pass. I learned certain things. I learned certain concepts. I learned certain ways to trade. And then after a few months, I meet my first mentor. And with that mentor, we actually got into trading more seriously. He took a look at how I trade. I showed him how I trade, my strategy, my understanding, things I know, and all of these things. And I remember, it was so funny. I was showing all of that to him. We were, just in a meeting, me and him, and I showed him, my strategy, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so sure of what I'm doing. I'm getting it, right? And I showed him, and he's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh wow.
Yeah,
See, I'm sorry to like interrupt you, but that's such like a very important thing because
it is.
I know for me when I was like starting off, I was very unaware of like the correct ways of trading. But until you meet that very experienced trader, which in your eyes or in your experience was that mentor, like that just brings like everything into one and really makes you actually learn. And then going back to what you said about the difficulties of when you were beginning, that was the perfect answer because like most of the traders that I guess help, they are very like dimension in like the answers they are looking for. Like they would say, how do I make
Yeah.
$500 in like a given week? And then I just go on like there's so many aspects to it, and it's very, very difficult.
Yeah,
So,
it's not even a question you can ask because there's so many components that actually get into that answer. So it's just hard to even say, something.
it, like that is so true. So going into when you are more experienced after you learned from this mentor, what do you think was your biggest gain, whether in profit or percentage, or just your overall like confidence in that trade, and why do you think that actually worked out?
So my biggest win, if we talk about just a specific trade in itself, was about
Yeah.
$2,000 profits. I think it was on GBP USD. Actually, earlier this year, I caught like 500 bits, something like that. So that was a good trade.
So, wait, so sorry to
No, it's cool.
but for all of the viewers who might not know him, he does trade forex, which is very different from stocks. So
Correct,
if you hear any of these terms, you can just Google them or just learn about the terms. So go on.
Yeah, so that was that trade on GBP USD, which is the British pound versus the US dollar, basically. It was at the very top of the markets on basically all time frame. I just took the sell and it went right down after. Here and by the way, just to make it very clear, I know I'm making it sound very simple. It's not that simple, right? It takes a lot of work, a lot of studies and understanding of those markets to be able to even become profitable. But to jump into, I think what you were saying about whether it's confidence or what made you take that trade. Basically, I think it was the question. I think my answer will be very similar to basically what I said before, but I think it all comes down to knowing what you're doing. And here's the problem: so many people think that they know what they're doing, but they really don't. And you can, experienced trader will find that very easily into someone. Like if I has, just one question to someone, if that answer doesn't make sense, I can already tell if that person is profitable or not. So the point here that I'm making is that it's so important to know what you're doing, and it all comes down to that. So when you know the skill, when you know how to trade, when you know how to read those charts, well, there is no limit to how much money you can make. It all depends on your capital, your risk, how well you understand these markets. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to that. So it's not even about, if that trade is so good or if that one is not so good. Like it's a big picture, it's overall. Because when you understand, like I said, what you're doing, you will be profitable on the long term, and at the end of the day, that's what we all go for, right? Like the short-term gains in reality, and like that specific one trade here that I'm talking about, well, of course it was a nice profit like here, but on a 2-year period or even more than that, like it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, that's just one trade. So it's important to understand what you're doing in order to even be profitable.
Exactly, and like the very key thing that I got from that, and for any beginners doing this, is there isn't like everyone is so focused on the micro gains, and they don't understand like to become a successful trader. In my opinion, you have to really understand and analyze the markets. You really have to understand how you are viewing them and in which angle you are, and don't really get saddened over a loss or a small win, or you could have made 2 times more. Those are such micro things, and from all of the professionals that I learned from people that are in investment banking or in like let's say hedge funds, they all talk taught me the skill of analyzing big picture and understanding these like micro wins or these micro losses. Even if it is a loss and I stuck to my plan, that's only going to develop me and my plan as a trader. So one thing that I always like to do is I love to take losses based on my plan. So I know I stuck with that plan, and then I could develop that plan. Whereas, let's say I just follow like Tim Jones, and like if that even is like a guy, and like I'm just following his trades, and I make a profit. I didn't do anything. Like I just copied him. I just gambled, and I just made like an X amount of money. So that is very crucial when it comes down to trading, guys. And going from your biggest win, in terms of your loss, when you lose, what is the best thing that you can give a beginner to overcome that specific loss, or just in general losing money just in the trade?
That's a great question, because it's very important.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you asked this.
Yeah.
How to overcome your loss or not have emotions? I'd say that it all comes down to trading what, even if you were to lose all your money, it will not even affect you. So to give you an example, so many people I see, they trade, with, let's say, $5,000. And then I ask them, how would you feel if you were to lose that $5,000? And they're like, oh my god, I will feel so horrible, my life will be in shame and all of these things. And I'm like, dude, like, it's game over already. So it all comes down to trading and risking what you are able to lose. And here, let me give you a little twist. A lot of people, when they say that answer, they talk about, in terms of only percentage of your account. So they're like, oh, risk 1%, right? Okay, that's cool. I agree with that. But something else that is not talked about enough is that it has to match, number one, your risk in terms of percentage on your account, but number two, it has to match your mindset. And what I mean by that, if you trade, let's say $10,000, right? You risk 1% per trade. So that means that you risk $100 per trade. So on paper, that looks really good. That looks like a good risk management. But maybe that for you, if you lose $100 per trade, it will be hard to, just handle mentally. So it's not only about what's written down on paper, it's also about the mindset. And because at the end of the day, it all comes down to that. You can be the best analyst in the world. You can be, you can have the biggest capital in the world. If that is not right, it's game over. Everything starts with the mind. Every single thing starts with the mind. And the reason why I say that, and the reason why I want this point to be so clear, is because so many people, they get into trading, they start to figure out, how the markets work, the patterns, the chart, the broker, the leverage, the risk, all these things. But guess what? Their mind is not even on the right track. So that's the reason why with my students, the first thing I push is the mindset, because if that is not right, all the other things can be right, but if that one is not, it's game over already. So it all comes down to just risking what you can afford to lose, and when you do that right, it already allows you to have a better mindset and to not feel so many emotions when you take a win or a loss, right? Because here we're talking about, the losses, but it can also be true for winning trades. So many people get big wins and their ego, their confidence goes up crazily, and then they risk so much money after that they should not even be risking. So it goes both ways. So yeah, just to conclude my long answer, I'd say it all comes down to just risking what you can afford to lose, and then that one thing in itself is going to help you mentally.
And like, when you were saying that, the top two aspects when it comes to your mindset and like the percentage, I was thinking in like my mind, my most important is your mindset, because I am sure we both had days like, in my opinion, the biggest thing that traders struggle with is emotions, and that's something that can't be learned from, in my opinion, in a short period of time. It's based off experience, and it takes a lot of time. And that's a huge reason why a lot of traders find that very, very challenging is because it takes time and patience, and it's very gruesome. It's there are like I know for me, I can't trade unless my emotions are correct. Like if I'm having a stressful day,
Yeah.
if I'm very busy,
Yeah.
I just don't even trade because
For sure.
I analytically found my stats are not good if my emotions aren't correct, and that's something that I cannot stress enough because most traders they want to trade every single day, and when that is in like your routine, you just trade just because you have to trade
Yeah.
every single day, and then you force the trade,
Yeah.
and it goes on from there. So going off of this is I'm definitely learning a whole lot, and definitely the audience is getting a bunch of advice too. So
I hope so.
I know this is very general, but what do you think is like if a beginner wants to go to you today? What is like your advice without knowing them personally? Because I know that is a huge like aspect. Without knowing them in their own sense, what do you think is your top 3 advice into someone that's just getting into trading in any market?
So for 3 advice for someone who is starting into trading, that's right?
Yes.
Okay. First one, I'll give the same answer I gave before and I'll explain why, but learn from the right people. So here's why. Here's why it's even the first thing you need to learn and to do, basically. When you start doing something new, right? Whether it's trading, business, a sport, music, whatever. When you start doing something new, you don't know what you don't know. That means that, so to come back to trading, that means that so many people, they get into trading and sadly they follow the wrong people. They learn the wrong things. So they end up, practicing those things, they end up learning those things, and they think that they are doing the right thing because they're like, oh, look at this person, he has this car, he has this photo on Instagram, he has this profit, he has this watch, all these bullshit, right? So they end up learning from the wrong people. And the dangerous thing about that is when you are just starting out, you don't know what you don't know. So you think you are learning the wrong thing, but guess what? You are not learning the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So it's so important, and the reason, and so to finish my thought, the reason why it's so important to have a good mentor is because when you just get into trading, you don't know what is good, you don't know what is bad. So you must find someone who already knows what is good and what is bad, so he can teach you them, and that's how you will start. And so many people, like I said, focus on hard work or oh, I'm gonna be so patient. But if you learn from the wrong people first, like there's no way, like you can work so hard, you will just go more into the wrong way, right?
Exactly.
So it's insane, and like I preach this so much and so often, but like it all comes down to that. But let's have a situation where someone already has that figured out. Let's say you already have a mentor. Great. What are the 2 other things you need to do? So the second thing would be that you write down your goals. And when I say write down your goals, it's not that you write down, for example, oh, I want to make this much money, I want to catch that many pips, I want to grow my account by that. No. What I mean by write down your goals, they have to be goals oriented towards your education, not the trading in itself. And that's a big mistake that a lot of people do. And I'll give you an example. So many people get into trading, it's been like 2-3 months, they're still learning, they're still at the very beginning stage, and guess what? They start writing down, oh, I want to catch this many pips this month, I want to make that much money. I'm like, dude, you haven't even started being profitable. So the goals have to be, number 1, very clear, and number 2, in the right order. And so that's very important that you actually know what good goals are when it comes to trading. And the only real goal that people should have when they actually get into trading is learning the skill. Because so many people fail at this. I don't know if you know that yourself or if the people who are watching this video know that, but that's a very, very important statistics that I always say. 9 people out of 10 are not profitable.
Yep.
9 people out of 10.
And that all comes down into that micro want that people want. They always I think trading got a very bad view in the sense of social media. It definitely got a good view, but in the sense of flexing on a bunch of money and all that. So I barely get traders that are in the right mindset once they message me. Just because all they know is stock market, money, cars, all that, and that's such a incorrect way to go about it. And that's exactly why the numbers prove that 9 out of 10 traders will lose money.
That's a really good example that you just said, by the way, because it goes with what I just said. Learn from the right people. So many people watch the wrong people, and so they end up following the wrong peoples, having the wrong goals, having the wrong mentality. Basically, everything is wrong, right? And in that situation, it's hard to become profitable. So I totally agree with you.
Exactly, and the best advice that I learned was from those experienced traders. I always found I started off by by myself. So right, I didn't really have a buddy that was on Wall Street or a buddy that has his own whatever.
Yeah.
I had to learn on my own, and the first months were very hard because I didn't know what to go into. I just had videos online. But once I got those people, in my opinion, this is how it works. You have no path until someone shows you that path. So either you could get a mentor and he could bring you down a path, and if he's not experienced, you could go as far down that path as you want. You're going nowhere. But once you have that trader, that experienced trader that actually knows what he's talking about, and he steers you into that path, and you keep going, it's just up from there. You just learn so much, and that's exactly why I want to have traders like you on this podcast, experienced traders that know what they're talking about, so that when I do have beginners on here, they could actually know, and you could actually get into their mindset and actually show them. Because in those early stages, it's very important. If they don't know what they're doing, or if they get steered off the wrong path, they're gonna work themselves out and just quit just because they don't know what they're doing. So
absolutely,
everything's just been so good. So I think going into your personal self and not into others now.
Yep.
What do you wish to accomplish in terms of your overall goals when it comes to trading in the near future? Let's say 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
So, as of now, my two main occupations are trading and the academy that I have, which is an online course. Earlier I said that I teach psychology to my students first. Well, this is what I was referring to. So I'd say probably just dig down and just go harder on these two things. My main focus has always been, and I think it will always be, trading. Because at the end of the day, that's what I love the most. I mean, it all started with trading, and I think it will all finish with trading because I really love it. Let me just even make a little addition to what I just said. So many people get into trading with the first goal of making money. But what people fail to realize is if that is your goal, you are most likely not going to make money, because the people who make a lot of money in trading, and it goes from the same thing with all the other industries, but the people who make a lot of money, they love what they do. They love it so much. It doesn't even feel like work. And guess what?
I'm so happy you said that.
For sure, because that's so true. Guess what? When I look at charts, when I do my analysis, when I take my trades, I'm having so much fun. You cannot even imagine. It's so cool. When in the morning I wake up, I look at my charts. If I see a good setups, I'm like, oh yeah, this one will be nice. This trade will be amazing. I love how it's playing out. So many people are missing that, love for trading, and it's so important.
And oh wow, everything, all the people that I know that are in a position that I want to be in or that I admire, they all say they love what they do.
For sure.
A quick example, I was talking to a guy making $400,000 every month, And the most important thing I learned from that was he loves every single day of his life.
Sure.
The past 30 years, like he loves it. And when I was younger, I got woke up I got hit in the face so hard because like I was trying to go to college and like all of that like realm. But when an individual came to me, he makes in the seven figures. He said like you're not going to reach the amount of success that you want in that mindset that I had, which was let me get a degree in this field that I do not care about. Instead, I had a clear passion for fitness at that time, and I didn't go full on that. And then when I did, I was finding so much success and happiness into that. All like the following things like money, that all came, and then once that was a byproduct, I loved every second of it, and that is like, so important when it comes down to a training. So going off of exactly what we just said, which is just like perfect.
To go back to the original question. So to conclude on what you were asking first, because I went all over the place once again. I talk so much sometimes, and
it is a conversation.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so to go back to my goals and what I want to do, like I said, first it's trading, for sure. I mean, I don't think I will ever change that, but I also want to help more my students, create more content either for them or even for my social medias, because I believe that once you have something that if you were to teach another person and that something can help them, you must do them. Right? You must help them. Like, at the end of the day, I try to, be as humble as possible and just remind myself that, hey, like, we're all humans, right? At the end of the day, like, we're all on the same path. Like, we're all doing the same thing. So I think that when you actually get into a position where you have the time and you have the knowledge to help others, I think it's your duty to do that. So I just really want, honestly, to become a better trader. I mean, I strive for that every day. I learn every day. I keep growing every day. I try to perfect my strategy and my analysis, my understanding at the best possible. And at the same time, but by doing that, after I want to give back to the people who are in Reversal Master. This is the best way I found to help them, because I work personally on the personal level, like we're doing right here on Skype. I do that with every single student. When they get into Reversal Master, they get exactly 5 hours of training with me. And it's just one part of the course. Like, I mean, there are over 100 videos on the website, and all of these things. But at the end of the day, I think it's very important that you try and make sure that you can at least give back a little bit to society and other peoples around you. Because, I mean, like I said, it's so important. Like, we all are humans, and at the end of the day, I think that if we can leave at least a little mark on this planet before we are gone, then I think it's a good thing to go for.
And, like, I think just from the 25, 30, about 20 minutes from this episode, I think what people got to realize was, like, you're very, like, passionate about what you're doing. It's very, very, like, clear. It's just, like, straight up, and that's so important. Like, we can't emphasize that enough. Like, it's, like, that's so important for me to know, like, people that come to me for any type of advice or any type of help, if they're not in the correct mindset of actually wanting to actually learn and love the markets, they can't like breathe just like without it, I don't bother. Because I found when I am helping traders that don't actually want to learn and are doing it just to make money, to flex to their homeboy John, then they just don't put in the work. It's just that simple.
I mean, it's very common sense when you think about it. Like, why would you work and put so much time into something you don't love? Well, you don't, right? So
exactly,
for sure.
So last question that I want you to answer. Do you think a trader that doesn't want to trade or isn't interested in the markets can learn to trade, even if he or she is just interested in the financial part? So if they're just trading for money, do you think they can actually learn? This is a question that I yet is like very, very hard.
They can learn, but not be profitable over a long period of time. I don't believe it. I've never seen it. I've never seen someone who's like, oh my god, Anthony, I'm so profitable. I've been trading for like 5 years. I'm so profitable. And then I ask them, do you love it? I've never had anyone say no. So honestly, like that's a good question because like you said, a lot of people want to get into trading with hopes of making so much money. But I think that if that is even in your mind, and let me say that one more time, if the money factor is even in your mind when you get into trading, it will be very hard. And to give you an example and to come back to what I was saying before, when I got into trading, I didn't even know that you could do that with real money. Like the first 1 week, I really thought it was like a game. Like I was completely new to trading, and I got into that, and I was like, oh, it seems fun. Let's do it. And then after I was like, oh, okay, you can really make money with that. So my point here is that it has to come from the right place, right? You have to deeply love what you're doing. And at the end of the day, I think that we put two person, they both have the same talent, the same hours, the same mentor, but if you have someone who loves what he's doing versus if you have someone who doesn't, that one will win.
Exactly, yep. And
so that's important.
That's exactly what I think is so important is like I pictured two people, one that doesn't exactly love it, versus someone that is doing it for the financial part. And the big reason why the person that love it is going to win is because they're going to be willing to put in those 16, 17, 20-hour days, whereas the other person, they're going to get lazy and they're really not going to put in that effort. So, I mean, this episode has definitely gone a little longer, but I think it was completely good, completely fine. I will be keeping Anthony's links in the bio with any of his socials and all the work that he has put into his mentorship. So I highly recommend you guys to check that out. So anything you would like to say, ask, tell before we end this?
Follow your passion. Never give up on your dreams. And never listen to other people, especially the ones who are doubting your vision. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans and we all want the best for ourselves. And so that means that if you listen to other people, you may actually distract yourself from what you truly want. So for anyone who's watching this, whether you are in trading, whether you are in business or anything, like it doesn't even matter, just keep following your passion, keep doing what you're doing. At the end of the day, I think that this is what we all strive for, to be happy. So find your happiness, whatever and wherever that is. Make sure you find it and make sure you protect your energy, because energy and your times are two things that are extremely limited. So just at the end of the day, it all comes down to being yourself, doing your own thing, and that's how I think you get happy in life. If you don't follow what other people are saying, then you can actually follow your own voice, and at the end of the day, that makes life very beautiful. So yeah,
ending on that, that's all I'm gonna say. I think this was a very good episode. So I hope you all enjoyed this first episode. I'll be doing these every Friday and Saturday, and be sure to check out Anthony. Feel free to message him on any of his platforms. And so I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and I hope you all stay tuned for the next one. So take care, everyone.